love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut, who knows?
Rachel Zegler is furious, Disney is panicking, and South Park just made things worse. The latest Snow White remake has gone from a beloved fairy tale to an intense heat of controversy. But why has this film caused such destruction? And how did South Park's brutal takedown add fuel to the fire? Let's break down the drama that has become the talk of the town. Let's begin with the heated reaction first. Rachel Zegler's reaction to the South Park episode wasn't subtle. The actress, cast as the lead in Disney's upcoming Snow White remake, took to social media to express her frustration.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
Fans weren't just angry about her remarks. In fact, they were furious about Disney's entire approach to this classic story. So what's behind all the controversy? It all started with Disney's bold decision to reimagine Snow White for modern audiences. Instead of embracing the timeless charm of the original 1937 film, the studio decided to give the story a new touch. Casting Rachel Zegler, a Latina actress, as Snow White was just the tip of the iceberg. The studio also announced that the beloved Seven Dwarfs would be replaced with a diverse group of magical beings, stripping away the characters that defined much of the original tale. But the changes didn't stop there. In interviews, Zegler openly dismissed the idea of Snow White as a love story, calling it outdated. She hinted that the iconic prince could be sidelined or removed entirely. For many, this felt like an unnecessary departure from the heart of the story, which has always been about love, hope, and finding happily ever after.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
These changes quickly drew criticism from fans who felt that Disney was prioritizing modern woke messaging over staying true to the original narrative. The title character's name, Snow White, which refers to her skin as white as snow, was seen as inconsistent with Zegler's casting. The controversy was further hyped up when Disney's intentions were called into question. Was this really about updating a beloved classic for a modern audience? Or was it an unsuccessful attempt to score points for inclusivity at the expense of storytelling?
She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see.
This combination of bold creative choices and public missteps has left Disney's Snow White remake in hot water before it's even been released. And with South Park entering the debate, the controversy has reached new heights. If the backlash against Disney's Snow White remake wasn't enough, South Park came in to add fuel to the fire. Known for its bold satire, the show wasted no time poking fun at Disney's controversial decisions, and Rachel Zegler herself, in one of its latest episodes,
"They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy. Will you check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there?"
I promise there's not.
"I'm scared, Mom. Will you..."
Transitioning from princesses to punchlines, the South Park team took direct aim at Disney's recent trend of race swapping and rewriting beloved characters. The episode reimagined the show's iconic characters, Cartman, Stan, and Butters, as adult women of color. This was a clear punch at how Disney handles diversity in its reboots. But South Park didn't stop there. The show spotlighted Zegler's comments about rewriting Snow White, framing them as part of a larger trend where creators dismiss the original material in favor of pushing new agendas. Through its sharp humor, the episode reflected the frustration many fans feel. If you're going to change everything about a classic, is it even the same story anymore? For years, Disney has been accused of prioritizing politically correct messaging over storytelling. South Park used its signature humor to highlight this disconnect. For fans, the South Park roast wasn't just funny, it was validating. For Disney and Rachel Zegler, though, it was another headache in a growing PR disaster. If Disney hoped Rachel Zegler would help calm the storm, they were completely mistaken. Instead, her reaction to the South Park episode and the criticism only added to the growing controversy. She remarked in one post, hinting at the fact that the movie hasn't been released. However, rather than winning sympathy, her words sparked a new wave of backlash. Critics accused her of being thin-skinned and unwilling to acknowledge the legitimate concerns of fans. But the problem wasn't just Zegler's tone, it was her approach. Instead of addressing the core issues, such as why the Snow White remake deviated so far from its roots, she doubled down on defending Disney's changes. She framed them as a step toward progress and empowerment, arguing that the original story was outdated and needed modernization.
The ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures, doesn't sound like something a little kid would like, was terrified of it, never revisited Snow White again.
Her stance, however, didn't sit well with fans. Many saw her comments as dismissive, not only of South Park's satire, but also of the emotional connection audiences have with the classic Snow White. By reacting so strongly to South Park, Zegler hyped up the controversy. It was clear that this wasn't just about Snow White anymore. It had become a larger debate about Hollywood, storytelling, and the fine line between progress and growth. The gaming media wasted no time jumping into the South Park versus Rachel Zegler drama. Tweets like "South Park roasts Disney's woke agenda" flooded websites and social media. Many outlets framed the episode as yet another bold statement from South Park on Hollywood's shifting priorities, while others focused on Zegler's heated response. Some platforms sided with South Park and praised the show's sharp critique of Disney's reimagined classics. In fact, they called it a much-needed commentary on Hollywood's direction. These channels also highlighted how South Park cleverly exaggerated Disney's trend of altering beloved stories for the sake of modernization, and used humor to echo fan frustrations.
Nothing has brought me greater joy than watching the Walt Disney Company absolutely panic over the last few weeks. They're mad at South Park because they're making fun of their woke ideologies, constantly race swapping or religion swapping everything in their movies.
Others, however, painted Zegler as the victim. They argued that South Park's parody unfairly targeted her and dismissed her attempts to bring a fresh perspective to the role. Still, this narrative failed to resonate widely, especially as Zegler's own statements continued to stir controversy. The South Park episode and the backlash surrounding Rachel Zegler's casting highlight a much larger conversation: the evolving nature of storytelling in modern media. At its core, the debate isn't just about one actress or one movie. It's about how far studios are willing to go to align with modern values while risking the alienation of their core audience. For decades, Disney was synonymous with timeless storytelling, creating movies that resonated across generations. However, their recent approach of reimagining classics like Snow White has sparked questions. Are these changes genuinely about progress, or are they superficial attempts to stay relevant? When cherished stories are reworked to fit contemporary ideals, many fans feel the essence of the original is lost, as if the creators are ashamed of the works they once celebrated.
I actually don't think people are upset just because a 22-year-old doesn't like a movie, and it's kind of disingenuous to say that. There's a few things that makes it problematic. For one, she implies that it's archaic to fall in love, that it's outdated, that you can't be both a leader and fall in love, that the two are mutually exclusive.
South Park's satire speaks to this frustration, illustrating how audiences perceive some of these choices as performative rather than substantive. By mocking Disney's woke agenda, the show resonated with viewers who feel storytelling has become less about creativity and more about checking boxes. But there's another side to this conversation. Advocates for modernized storytelling argue that refreshing old tales for today's audience is not only necessary, but overdue. They believe reimagining classics can give them new relevance and connect with a broader, more diverse audience. The controversy has created a clear divide. On one side are fans who vote for the traditional stories they grew up loving, and on the other are those who welcome the changes as a reflection of a more adaptive world. The tension between these two perspectives will likely shape how studios approach future projects. For storytellers, the lesson here is clear: authenticity matters. Audiences will support change if it feels true to the story, but force changes to risk even the most loyal fans. As Disney continues down this path, they'll have to balance innovation with respect for the original narratives. Meanwhile, satirical voices like South Park will likely continue to call out missteps, keeping the cultural conversation alive and well. What do you think? Should studios prioritize diversity and inclusivity, even at the cost of tradition? Or is there a line they shouldn't cross? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. See you in the next one.